Why do you add water when you cook bacon? I and this gentleman here is about to show you. It's a very useful trick to get really, really crispy bacon.
Welcome back to Andy Cooks, and a really quick one today. I just wanted to run you guys through how I get super crispy bacon at home every time.
Yeah, that looks great. And what he's probably going to go over is, I don't know, I wouldn't exactly call it science, but when you add water to a pan of bacon as it's cooking, or like in the beginning, the water is going to gently start to cook the bacon and start to render out all of the fat from the bacon. It's, very, very fatty. I know sometimes y'all cooking at home, you might have it really hot and the bacon kind of gets cooked or crispy-ish, but then like the end, there's like a big chunk of fat that's still sort of raw. So this method helps render all that fat out. And when I say render, I mean cook all that fat out, right? And then the water will eventually evaporate. And then you'll have a nice dry heat for the bacon to crisp up.
All right, so super crispy bacon, all you need, some bacon, a pan, and a little bit of water. Now, I like to use streaky bacon for this. I think it works much better than the loin bacon or the middle bacon. That's pretty common in Australia and England as well. But I like the streaky bacon, the American or Canadian style streaky bacon. It's got a higher fat content. And
I don't know about all that other bacon. I just know about American bacon, regular bacon. All right, everything else, I don't know.
I also prefer something with a bit of smokiness to it. So how we get super crispy bacon, you may have seen me do this in a couple of my other videos, and it usually kind of blows people's minds. But what we do is we take bacon in a cold pan and we lay it out flat.
Another important tip, starting bacon on a cold pan. The bacon already has a ton of, and no fat as well, no added oil or anything like that, because the bacon already has a ton of fat on it, which will render out and it'll cook in its own fat. So there's no need to add any oil or anything, or to keep the pan hot. To start with the pan hot, rather.
So once you've got it laid out flat, ideally you don't want it really touching too much, but it will shrink a little bit. We're gonna add a little bit of water, like this much, not really that much at all. Anyway, let's get this over this.
So that was kind of difficult to see there, but he added just like a tiny layer of water, just enough to where it's like a sheen layer of water. Not any more than that is needed.
Stove, and I'll explain why this works so well. So, on a high heat, and all we're going to do is start reducing the water to it. It basically completely evaporates. And what that does is it renders the fat out really effectively and evenly, and then you can start crisping up the flesh. So when you get crispy bacon, what's happening is basically you're getting the flesh super crispy. Think of it like the char effect you get on a steak. You get that outside crust. That's basically what you're doing to that whole piece of pig flesh. So put it on the heat, start on a high temperature, and it will take a few minutes just to let that water reduce down. Once it's reduced down, then you start crisping up the bacon. So let's come back then.
Yeah, so as you can see here, the water simmering the bacon, and it's starting to cook it and starting to render out that fat. So all that fat's going to start to come out. And once the water evaporates 100%, it's just going to be left with a little bit of fat that's going to help it crisp up real nicely.
All right, we're almost at crunch time here. You can see all the water pretty much evaporated. And as soon as that happens, you've got to pay close attention because this is going to crisp up pretty quickly. So you can see there that the water's pretty much evaporated and it is starting to brown up on the edges. Now, if you're going to use the loin style bacon or your short crust bacon isn't particularly thick, then you do need to add a little bit of oil to the pan as well. But if you're doing you've got a really good quality bacon with good fat.
I think when he says loin bacon, I think he means Canadian bacon, which is just pork loin that's cooked and sliced. So all Canadian bacon is, it's pork loin, essentially. I mean, it's not ham, but it's almost like it.
You won't need to add any oil. So I haven't added any oil to this one, but if you are using a loin style bacon, put a little bit of oil in when you put the water in. And don't use olive oil, use like a grapeseed oil or canola oil or peanut oil, something high temperature and a neutral flavor.
So yeah, he says don't use olive oil, and probably wouldn't recommend butter either, is because these oils have low smoking points, meaning that they will start to smoke and burn at a much lower temperature than other oils like grapeseed, avocado, or canola.
So the fat's rendered down nicely and it's starting to brown up. So we're just going to do the first flip. We will do 2 or 3 flips here just to get a nice even coloring and crispness.
I don't really see a point of doing 2 or 3 flips. I mean, I think, right, just cook it to your content on one side and then flip it and do it the other. But, to each his own.
This is where a splatter guard comes in handy. You see here really clearly all that fat that's come off the bacon. I didn't put any of that in there. That's all off the bacon.
Yeah, so that liquid there is bacon fat, pork fat. It's not water, and then it's just fat that has rendered, been cooked off the bacon itself.
Ready for flip number 2. At this point, I'm going to turn it down a bit so I can see it starting to brown up a bit faster than I'd like. And the last flip. So the temperature's right.
And as you can see there too, if you notice, he's cooking on a fairly low temperature. And this is because at this stage in the cooking, it does happen really fast, like he says. And then you see all those bubbles on top of the bacon. I mean, that's oil as well. That's the bacon fat as well. So it's almost like it's cooking from the top and the bottom at the same time.
Right down low now. And onto some paper towel. Or you can use a wire rack.
Obviously, paper towel to absorb up any excess fat.
There you have it. Super crispy, not burnt at all. Fat's beautifully rendered. Listen to that crunch. Thanks for watching, guys. Jump in the comments if you've used this method. I'd love to hear how it goes for you.
Yeah, so super easy trick to cook really crispy bacon, really high quality cooked bacon. No more of that like burnt on the flesh side, but then raw on the fat side, right? Really easy.